give my best college players of all time, my best college players of all time in certain positions. We have seen the craziest and the beauty about college football is you can be incredible in college football. You can be a Hall of Famer in college football and not really do much in the NFL. That really shows the talent in the NFL. I'm not saying college football is trash, but people leave legacies in college football that can never be replaced and it can never be changed. In your NFL career doesn't impact your college football career unless you do something like egregious. But I want to talk about some of my favorite and probably I'm not going to do like linemen or whatever, or like offensive linemen and stuff like that. But I'm creating the greatest college football teams by, some positions. And I'm interested to see, I want you guys to combat my team. I want you guys to go in the comments and you give me your team, your best college football team. As far as we'll talk about what I'm talking about. I want you to create the best college football team and let me know where I was wrong at, where I was right at. We'll talk about it. Let's start at the quarterback position. To me, this was the hardest decision of all of them. Because you have to understand, man, there have been some incredible college football quarterbacks. I mean, we remember how great Peyton Manning was at Tennessee. You remember, and one of my favorite, probably my favorite that I've ever watched, is Cam Newton at Alabama, Marcus Mariota at Oregon, Michael Vick at Virginia Tech, Vince Young at Texas. But there have been some incredible. Another documentary that's out right now is Johnny Manziel, and how great he was at Texas A&M. There have been some, and you can also go back to Roger Staubach, Dan Marino, Doug Flutie. You know what I'm saying? Like, there have been some great college quarterbacks. Case Keenum, he holds like 9 records right now. But to me, my greatest college football quarterback of all time is Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow has 2 national championships, Heisman winner, 2-time SEC Player of the Year, Dave O'Brien winner, AP Player of the Year in 2007, and 3-time All-American. Again, maybe I'm not even a prisoner at the moment. The numbers that he was putting up is something that we have never seen. Now, I do think that it was very beneficial that he was in Urban Meyer's offense and that he had someone like Percy Harvin on the team. But Tim Tebow, to me, is the greatest college football quarterback of all time. And this is coming from somebody that for the longest has stood on the table and said, no, Cam Newton's the greatest. It's Tim Tebow. I have Tim Tebow as my greatest college football quarterback of all time. Wide receiver was also very hard because to me it's between 2 players. It's between Calvin Johnson. Now, people that know me know that Calvin Johnson is my favorite football player of all time. I'm not gonna. Yes, he's my favorite college football player of all time. Or no, he's my favorite football player of all time. He's one of the biggest reasons why I was such a fan of football, even though he wasn't winning anything in Detroit. But the numbers that he put up at Georgia Tech, the man, in 3 seasons, man, he had 178 receptions, 2,972 reception yards, 28 touchdowns. Like, he was a beast, man. And it was extremely hard for me to put anybody else above him, but I did. And to me, there's only one person that would be above Calvin Johnson as the greatest college football wide receiver of all time. And that is the only Randy Moss. Let me first tell you, Randy Moss, right? He was not playing with anywhere close to NFL talent. He was not on a team that you would, in any stretch of the imagination, think that. In fact, I think he was the only player. I could be wrong, but I think he was the only player on that team that even got NFL consideration. He didn't have a good quarterback. Randy Moss was Marshall. Now, the reason why he went to Marshall was, of course, a lot of off-the-field issues, but he went to Marshall. At Marshall, mind you, again, this is with a very, very, very bad quarterback. This man had 78 catches, 179 yards, and 28 touchdowns. Oh my goodness! Moves football highest, blah blah. His last year, he had 96 catches for 182 yards and 26 touchdowns. Randy Moss was a Heisman candidate. I think he finished the top 4. I know Charles Woodson won, but there was nobody like Randy Moss. Not a person. And as much as I love Calvin Johnson, I had to give it to Randy Moss. Tight end was a little different. You'd think it may be someone like Tony Gonzalez or Rob Gronkowski. Maybe someone like Shannon Sharp. Some of the greatest tight ends we've ever seen in the NFL. But no. And to me, I know that people are gonna what people like to do is they like to attach to one person, which I did. I do that a lot too. Like it was very hard for me to get over the fact that I didn't have Cam Newton as my best quarterback. I didn't have Calvin Johnson. 2 of probably my favorite NFL or football players ever. But for the tight end position, I have Brock Brewers. Now, people are like, wait, you mean the Brock Brewers that's currently playing? Yes. I think he is the greatest tight end. I know you can say Keith Jackson, but no. Brock Brewers in his career already has 2-time national champion, John Mackey Award, 2-time AP All-American, 2-time All-SEC, and SEC Freshman of the Year in 2021 at the tight end position. Mind you, we talked about Travis Kelce, and I'm not saying that Brock Brewers is going to be better than Travis Kelce, nor am I going to say he is Travis Kelce. But what I will say is the one thing that benefits Travis Kelce and why I think that he's one of the greatest of all time is his wide receiver-like ability. And that's also the same that you can say about Brock Brewers. Brock Brewers there's nothing he can't do. He's great at blocking. He's great at catching. He's great at yards after the catch. He's great at getting open. He's one of the main reasons why Georgia won the national championship these last years. And he has been the best tight end in football. I know that Dalton Kincaid got drafted last year. He is nothing compared to Brock Brewers. And I think Brock Brewers has the case to be the best tight end of all time in college football. Running back. Look here. You want to know one of the biggest reasons why people put up with what the hell Herschel Walker be talking about? Is because of what he did at Georgia. Herschel Walker was by far the best. I'm not going to say by far, but Herschel Walker is the best college football running back of all time, in my opinion. I know you have Barry Sanders, and I know. I think that Herschel, and I know you also have Jim Brown. I think a lot of people will say it could be him, but in 3 years, Herschel Walker has 5,259 yards and 52 total touchdowns. And this is 1980 through 82. Again, the reason why a lot of people put up with whatever the hell Herschel Walker be talking about today is because of how great of a football player he was. I mean, he was a Heisman winner. He is, I think, college football's 100, which is the 100 greatest college football players. I know he's on that list. And you'd be hard pressed to find me a better wide receiver or running back than Herschel Walker. There's, again, when we talk about Herschel Walker, who had a really good NFL career, nobody talks about his NFL career. Everyone talks about how great of a player he was in college football. He was one of the greatest. Yeah, man. Let's go over to the defense. I'm going to do cornerback, safety, defensive end, and linebacker. At the cornerback position, to me, it has to go to Charles Woodson. Charles Woodson is the only pure defensive player that have won the Heisman, and they won a national championship in 1997. Charles Woodson, you can say what you want about how you feel about Michigan or how you feel about Charles Woodson's career in football as far as the NFL when he played for the Raiders and the Packers. But Charles Woodson was one of the best, if not, I think he was the best cornerback in football. And this is Champ Bailey at Georgia was incredible. We know about Deion Sanders. Patrick Peterson was great. Jalen Ramsey, Rod Woodson, Tyrann Mathieu at LSU was insane. But I think that there's levels to it. And while I think it's very close between Charles Woodson, Champ Bailey, and Deion Sanders, I'm giving the nod to Charles Woodson because he has the Heisman. And yeah, man, I have Charles Woodson at the cornerback position. He's Charles Woodson. And some of these people to me are undeniable. Like, you can't really deny Herschel Walker. To me, you really can't deny Charles Woodson. And honestly, you really can't deny Tim Tebow either when you look at the numbers. Defensive end. I don't know if you guys remember, but in 2009, right? In fact, hold on, let me see something. 2009 Heisman. I think it was 2008. I just want to be 1,000% correct with you guys. Okay, it was 2009. In 2009, Mark Ingram II won, obviously, the Heisman. And he was well deserving of the Heisman. Like, he deserved the Heisman. He was that great. Well, I'm not going to say that. What I will say is he was incredible for Alabama. The person that I believe deserved to win the Heisman, and I don't know why the hell they didn't give it to him, was Ndamukong Suh. You can look at the antics. You can look at whatever you want to look at. But there's no question that Ndamukong Suh at Nebraska was one of the most dominant players we have ever seen in college football. As a junior, Ndamukong Suh had 76 tackles, 19 tackles for loss. He had 7.5 sacks. And in 2019, give me a second. In 2019, he had 93 tackles, 24 tackles for loss, and 12 sacks. He was unanimous all-first team All-American. He won the Lombardi Trophy, the Nagurski Trophy, the Ben Arc Trophy, and he also was a Heisman finalist. Even though he was tied for fourth, I do believe Ndamukong Suh in 2009 should have won the Heisman. We have never seen, I'm not going to say never, but very few and far between have we seen a player dominate college football the same way and in the same ferocity that we've seen Ndamukong Suh at Nebraska. So Ndamukong Suh at the defensive end position for me. At the linebacker position. Now, this is a little, I don't know if you guys remember, because when people think of LeVar Arrington, right, all people really, well, especially people from home, people think of as, oh, he played the dude that played for Washington. Yeah, yes, that's LeVar Arrington. But LeVar Arrington at Penn State was arguably the greatest linebacker we have ever seen in college football history. Penn State has always had a historic, I guess you can say, lineage of players, but we have never seen a linebacker more physically dominant, in my opinion, than LeVar Arrington was at Penn State. From 1997 to 1999, there was not a player like. Let me pull some stuff up for you. Give me a second. I accidentally closed out of it. At Penn State, man, LeVar. Hold up. I want to give you guys. I want to give you guys a complete let's say a complete snapshot of LeVar Arrington and what exactly he did. LeVar Arrington in college football. Give me a second, guys. Boom. I was looking through my notes. Sorry. That man had 72 tackles, 20 tackles for loss, 9 sacks, and 2 block kicks in 1999. He was the leader of a Penn State team that went 28-9 record, and they were trash at the quarterback position. He leaped over an offensive lineman on 4th and down to secure it. Bro, we've never seen a player as far as physically dominant and such a physical freak of nature than LeVar Arrington was at Penn State. And yeah, he has my linebacker position. And the safety position, it's kind of easy for me. It was between one or two players. It was between Sean Taylor or Ed Reed. And rest in peace, Sean Taylor. I had to give it to Ed Reed. Ed Reed is considered one of the greatest safeties of all time. I know Troy Polamalu is definitely in there, but to me, it's Ed Reed. And what Ed Reed did at Miami, we know Miami is, especially back in the day, is one of the cornerstones for defensive players. I mean, Miami is littered, or the NFL greats, the NFL Hall of Fame is littered with Miami players. Ed Reed, Ray Lewis. I mean, he's not in the Hall of Fame, but Sean Taylor definitely would have been if he didn't pass away like he did. It's Ed Reed, man. That's just it. And it's not that close. So, oh man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.